cross-border payments to 3.5%, and we would be way, way, way below of that goal that was set for many years away from now.
And just to put a fine point on it, does Facebook collect that transaction fee?
No, that would be partners that will actually operate the agents network for cash in and cash out, or in the case of banked users, they would use a debit card to buy Libra, and there would be debit card fee rates.
So to the extent there's revenue associated with this for Facebook, it comes in what form?
So revenues from Facebook, one, indirect, so 90 million small businesses, 2.7 billion people on the platform being able to transact with one another. By the way, a lot of small businesses around the world cannot accept digital payments, nor buy ads on Facebook or buy anything digitally because they don't have access to that. So out of the 90 million small businesses that we serve today, we'll have the ability to serve way more and enable more commerce. So that's the indirect effect. And then over time, I believe that with Calibra, we'll be able to build a lot of services, notably in partnerships with banks and other financial institutions, to generate revenues with Calibra proper. So, you can think of lending and all kinds of different services that, again, we'll do in partnerships with banks, the same way a lot of wallet providers around the world are doing, but with a reach that is going to be much broader because of all of the people that we would be able to bring on to a modern financial system.
Hey, David, appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
All right, coming up, Senator David Perdue talks taxes, the Democratic debate, and trade talks. At the top of the hour, legendary investor Leon Cooperman joins us for the full hour. Squawk Box will be right back.
At today's Best Western,
London, switch to Vodafone, the UK's best mobile network, and Be Unlimited, because the best phones deserve the best network and our new unlimited data plans. The future is exciting. Ready? Vodafone.
Max download speeds apply to unlimited data. Best network as voted by readers of trusted reviews. Terms at vodafone.co.uk/unlimited.
Hey, you. We didn't make Nature Valley Crunchy bars so you could just sit and scoff them in front of the TV. Not when you could be enjoying them outdoors. Up here! Race it to the top! With 100% whole grain oats and delicious honey. Nature Valley Crunchy. Get out more.
And to say happy birthday, we're giving you a pair of award-winning Silver Galaxy Buds.
But it's not my birthday till June.
No, but it's ours. 10 years ago, we launched our first Galaxy smartphone. And to celebrate, we're giving customers who purchase any Galaxy S10, Note 10 or A90 5G the chance to claim a pair of amazing wireless Galaxy Buds.
Wow, and I didn't get you anything.
Get the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphone now at your local O2 shop or o2.co.uk. Offer available on purchases made by the 23rd of October 2019 and claimed online within 30 days. T&C supply.
Hi, I'm back. I just set a personal best on my park run. Feels great.
That's lovely, Mike. I think you've earned the right to put all the bins out.
Hey?
With Vitality Life Insurance, you get properly rewarded when you're active. In fact, you could save over £730 every year in discounts and rewards from our partners. Join over 1 million customers. Just search Vitality Life. Vitality. Positively different. Annual savings available with certain plans and are dependent on members' usage of rewards available. Terms and conditions apply.
It's going to be a bit chilly today. And with the worst of winter yet to reach London, you don't want to come home to a broken boiler. We're with you. So that's why with British Gas Home Care, we've got your boiler covered 365 days a year. We have thousands of engineers on hand to help get your boiler up and running again, and all from just 46p a day. Buy selected home care products online by the 28th of October and get 1 month free. Search British Gas Home Care. Conditions apply. Prices vary by postcode.
You're listening to TuneIn, where you can hear all the audio you love in one place. Live NFL games, the hottest music, breaking news, and podcasts. Push play and go about your day, only on TuneIn.
Still to come, Senator David Perdue with reaction to last night's debate, the trade talks, and much more. Right now, as we head to a break, here's Elizabeth Warren on her wealth tax. We'll be right back.
My question is not why do Bernie and I support a wealth tax. It's why does everyone else on this stage think it is more important to protect billionaires than it is to invest in an entire generation of Americans?
Thank you.
center field. A grand slam!
October baseball is here, and TuneIn Premium is your ticket to the 2019 MLB postseason. Featuring the home and away feeds for every game, TuneIn Premium delivers every call of the ALCS, NLCS, and the 2019 World Series through the voices of the local radio broadcast teams.
In the air, left field and deep. He's at the wall.
Now until a new champion is crowned, hear every play of the 2019 MLB postseason live on TuneIn Premium. Upgrade today.
Get social with TuneIn. Follow TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to discover what's happening in the app and around the world. Be the first to know about upcoming games and the hottest new music. Follow @TuneIn and always be in the know.
Want to know what's happening in right now? The latest headlines are just a tap away with Fox News Talk on TuneIn. When news breaks, get up-to-the-minute coverage on developing stories from around the world. Plus, hear all the Fox shows you watch on your TV. Listen to Fox News Talk around the clock on TuneIn. You love TuneIn for live breaking news from CNN, MSNBC, Fox, CNBC, and more. But when you can't catch your favorite show as it airs, it might just be a click away as a podcast. Search your favorite news station to explore all the on-demand news shows on TuneIn.
Upgrade to TuneIn Premium and get over 45 commercial-free music stations. You'll also get live commercial-free news, plus live play-by-play games from NFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL. Visit TuneIn.com/premium to upgrade.
TuneIn puts you on the sideline for the 2019 college football season free all year long. With college football on TuneIn, hear the home and away call for more than 140 schools live, regular season matchups and rivalry games, conference championships and bowl games, the college football playoff.
The throw, he steps up, he's going deep down the right side. Andrews.
You can listen to it all for free.
The end zone, touchdown.
At home, on campus, or on the road, hear the excitement and pageantry of college football all season long, free on TuneIn.
Live from the TuneIn Studios, I'm Fonseca with the Daily Sports Update. Today, we've got Game 4, Astros-Yankees. First pitch, 8:08 p.m. Eastern, right here on TuneIn. How the team's feeling?
It's going to be exciting. I've pitched here once before, and I had a lot of fun. I always enjoy, what a great stage.
Well, if you want to catch that game, search MLB and favor your team. We're getting closer and closer. Playoffs, and then we've got the World Series. Make sure to follow your team, MLB. That's your TuneIn Sports Update.
Welcome back, everybody. The Democratic candidates taking shots at each other and President Trump during last night's debate. Kayla Tausche joins us right now from Westerville, Ohio. She's got the roundup of what happened. Kayla, good to see you.
Good morning, Becky. It was a wide-ranging debate on age with the oldest presidential field yet. The vice president and his family under fire for foreign business deals, and the most substantive questioning in the campaign season so far on jobs and the economy. There was one very notable shift, and that is the candidates on stage are treating Senator Elizabeth Warren as a clear frontrunner. Warren's platform coming under sustained attack, most frequently from Senator Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who are trying to claim the ideological middle of the Democratic Party and repeatedly seeking to paint Warren's proposals as radical and unaffordable.
Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything, except this. No plan has been laid out to explain how a multi-trillion-dollar hole in this Medicare for All plan that Senator Warren is putting forward is supposed to get filled in.
We owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice. The difference between a plan and a pipe dream is something that you can actually get done.
The field had a common foe in billionaires and big tech, but the field was less formative in what to do about it. You can see a range of plans from taking a closer eye on monopolies, introducing more regulation. And Warren and Sanders again saying these big tech companies like Facebook and Amazon should be broken up. But entrepreneur Andrew Yang said that's actually not feasible.
As usual, Senator Warren is 100% right in diagnosing the problem. There are absolutely excesses in technology, and in some cases, having them divest parts of their business is the right move. But we also have to be realistic that competition doesn't solve all of the problems. It's not like any of us wants to use the fourth best navigation app. There's a reason why no one is using Bing today. Sorry, Microsoft, it's true.
That was one of the most viral moments from the debate. Added to that, the most tweeted about moment, guys, Julian Castro on gun violence and Vice President Biden on Syria policy. We'll see whether that causes any bump to the polls or to fundraising, the deadline to announce which was last night.
All right, Kayla, thanks. President Trump tweeting a short time ago, I don't know if you saw this, our record economy would crash just like in 1929 if any of those clowns became president. Join us now, Senator David Perdue, former Reebok and Dollar General CEO and a close friend of President Trump. I don't know if you're you live in Washington now. I don't know if you're a Washington Nationals fan or not, but that was on at the same time. So you got an excuse, Senator, if you're not up to speed on everything that went down last night at the debate, or did you watch it?
Of course not. I had more important things to do, like watching the NLCS that if you blinked your eyes, you missed it this year. But no, I had more important things to do, Joe. But look, looking at what they've said, this is incredible. It's so obvious that these people have no clue of what capital formation is all about. What they're talking about with this wealth tax and all the other things they're trying to perpetrate would absolutely kill capital formation. It sounds a little bit to me like Lyndon Johnson's promises with the Great New Deal, back in 1965, where they said, look, give us all your money and we'll solve all the problems. And he stole the surplus from Social Security to do that, and all those investments pretty much failed.
I haven't done the actual math. I've seen it done, and I don't know if I trust it, but adding up all of Bernie's plans, and since I haven't done the math, I'll just tell you it was well into the tens of trillions. It was almost 100 trillion, not quite, but I don't know whether Bernie is going to start moving up again in the popularity contest or not. But it's not a whole lot different from some of the other plans or some of the other candidates' plans being bandied about.
No, well, look, there's no reality in anything they're saying. I mean, the socialized medicine proposal that they're talking about would cost now, Bernie says, over $4 trillion a year. Put that in perspective, Joe. We only collect about $2.2 trillion in income taxes. And the other thing, the Green New Deal that they're not talking about now all of a sudden would cost $9 trillion a year is the best number I can find on that. And the only way I can compare that for your viewers is that the entire adjusted gross income of America, not the tax, but the adjusted gross income, the total earnings of America is about $9 trillion.
Yeah. I also, just to switch gears, we'll come back to trade and economic issues. But I did see Lindsey Graham yesterday just making the case that the Senate at this point, if notwithstanding something else, I guess, coming out from this investigation or inquiry, whatever you want to call it, but that the Senate, you may not lose a single senator, I think was his prediction in terms of Republican senators. You might not get all the Democrats. So his point was to Speaker Pelosi, just don't go through this. It's not going to happen. I think actually Andrew Yang alluded to that last night too, that it's a fantasy if you think it's actually there's going to be a removal. Is that, would you view it that way?
Of course it's a fantasy. This has nothing to do with impeachment. They're not going to get there. I mean, they won't even call a vote to have a formal inquiry. This is the first time in U.S. history that the Speaker of the House, who broached the impeachment issue, did not call for a formal inquiry. Why is that so important? Well, this is a show trial. This is nothing but one side trying to drum up something to counter the president with. They'll never get to that vote, in my opinion, and it's dead on arrival in the Senate. So, no, there's nothing here that has risen to the level of impeachment. We all know that, and most people in America are going to realize that when they see how shallow all these arguments are that the Democrats are making right now.
But if you keep, the leaks, you keep going forward, interview people, leak it to the Times or the Washington Post, what the witnesses were saying, and then public opinion starts to turn, and then you get pressure on the Republican senators. Perhaps is that the MO?
Well, I think, I trust the common sense of America. We saw that in 2016. I saw it in my race in 2014 in Georgia. People know that this town is broken, Joe, and this is one manifestation of it where the Speaker of the House will not put USMCA on the table and let us vote on it, but will waste all this time up here on a pipe dream that is nothing more than political partisanship.
Senator, even if you don't believe what's taken place is an impeachable offense, are you troubled at all by any of the actions either that the president's taken or perhaps what Rudy Giuliani did or has done? Obviously, two of his associates have already been indicted.
Well, what I'm really troubled by is the fact that the media never talks about the other side of it as well. I mean, corruption is one of the reasons why even under the Obama administration, we withheld funding from Ukraine.
Senator, but that's exactly the point, Senator.
Let me finish.
That's the point. The point is that you've made lots of statements about the character of the previous president, about the character of others, when you've seen issues that have troubled you. And what I'm asking you is, putting aside the impeachment piece of this, to me, if you look at some of the other people that you've talked about over the years where there's been an issue of character, or at least that things that have troubled you, does any of this trouble you at all?
Let's get the record straight up. I never questioned the character of President Obama. What I questioned were his policies that absolutely failed. What I question here is why we can't get at the true issue that we're talking about around the edges here, and that's corruption. That's what that telephone call was really all about, if you look at it. So no, I mean, this is nothing different than anything else that's happened. Yes, I'm troubled that we have corruption between the United States and Ukraine, but it didn't just start in the last 18 months.
All right, Senator, we talk more about the, as we get closer to find out who the nominee is, we can look at the actual economic proposals, and then we got to handicap the chances of anything really happening with if the Republicans hold the Senate. So see a lot of Democrats say that, they don't mean it. It'll be fine. They're not going to do any of that stuff. That's why I'm comfortable. Anyway, thank you, Senator.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you. And the 8 o'clock hour of Squawk Box begins right now. Good morning.
Taking flight, United Airlines CEO Oscar Munoz pulls up to the Squawk Gate. We're going to talk earnings, outlook, and when Boeing 737 MAX might make it back in the air.
Our newsmaker of the morning, legendary investor Lee Cooperman, joins us on set. We'll get his best ideas right now.
Plus, breaking economic news, a key read on the consumer just 30 minutes away. The final hour of Squawk Box begins right now.
I'm learning to fly. Brain got wings.
Live from New York, where business never sleeps, this is Squawk Box.
Is the hardest thing.
Good morning and welcome back to Squawk Box, or welcome to Squawk Box here on CNBC, live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Joe Kernan, along with Becky Quick and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Our guest host this hour, Leon Cooperman. U.S. equity futures at this hour are indicated on Cooperman Day down about 22 points. Well, that's not too bad, Leon. What we've seen in the past 4 or 5 sessions has been pretty solid, given the backdrop.
Day to day, who knows?
Day to day, who knows? Anyway, Treasury yields, take a quick look. They've backed up a little bit in recent sessions. I saw 170 earlier, but there we are on the 10-year, 174.
Let's tell you about some of the other headlines this morning. Bank of America posting better than expected quarterly earnings and revenue. The results were helped by a 27% increase in investment banking fees, strong growth in the consumer banking section, also some other areas where they saw some growth, things like commercial lending, which was up about 6%. Bank of America right now up by 2.25%, and this comes after a 2% gain for Bank of America shares yesterday when we heard strong results from many of the other banks. Drug distributors, including McKesson, AmerisourceBergen, and Cardinal Health, are reportedly in talks with state and local governments to settle opioid litigation for $18 billion. The Wall Street Journal says that Johnson & Johnson is also involved in talks to try and contribute additional money. Other stocks exposed to opioid litigation are also moving right now, including Mallinckrodt, Endo, and Teva. In global market news, this is the final day for Brexit negotiators to hold talks ahead of a key EU summit. If a deal has a chance of being approved by the EU and then the UK over the weekend, it must be reached by today. Ahead of all of that, the pound down a little bit, about just over 1/3%.
And United Airlines reporting better than expected sales and profit in the latest quarter, also raising its earnings outlook for the year on a surge in bookings. Phil LeBeau joins us with a Squawk exclusive interview with CEO Oscar Munoz. Phil.
Thank you, Andrew. Oscar, congratulations on the third quarter. You beat by a dime. What's working right now for United?
What's working? Gosh, our team is doing an amazing job across the board. A few years ago, we started this journey, and our strategy, our focus on customers and a focus on our people, and just some great efforts around the whole course. And it's great to have yet another quarter.
You have raised your guidance for the full year this year by a hefty amount, and you've said basically, look, we're going to meet or exceed what we're expecting for next year. What's working more right now, the leisure bookings or the corporate bookings?
Well, across the board. So internationally is fairly strong. Pacific region is solid, mostly because of Hong Kong. The domestic market is strong. The regional network and catchment area and strategy that we laid out in 2018 is really working remarkably well. Our product offerings, our customer investments have really proven to be a big deal. And so it's across the board. Again, this is a difficult business. And a lot of times, historically, people have either focused on the top line or on cost individually. I think we focus on profits. And we said that when we announced our our guidance on capacity, that it's not about the growth, it's about the EPS goals. And really proud of the fact that we can meet our numbers for this year, and more importantly, that we can project for next year and meet or exceed for that 3-year goal.
How much is not having the MAX hurting United right now?
Yeah, clearly it hurts. I mean, I think at this point in time, we'd have 80 to 100 flights that would be in the air. But again, it's just, the important part about that conversation is that the aircraft will return safely, and that's all we really care about. So we await the FAA and the regulators to do their thing.
Last week, you pulled it off the schedule until early January, but let's be honest. If you talk with people in the industry, and I know you do all the time, there is increasingly less confidence that this plane will be certified and returning to service by the end of the year. The Southwest pilots are saying, look, we don't expect it back until at least February. Do you really have confidence in that early January start date?
No one knows, right? We've been doing this for 7 months. And so the important part is that it's returned safely. And I think that the aspect for us at United is I have great confidence in our pilots and our training and our MAX product when it does return. And so we will do it when it's safe to do so.
Hong Kong is a mess right now. You even said that before we started this interview. How much is that spilling over and impacting your bookings, corporate bookings in particular, for China, whether it's Shanghai, Beijing?
Well, like I said, Tokyo is the predominant driver of the impact in the Pacific region for us. Both Shanghai and Beijing are softer, but not noticeably so. It clearly is a Hong Kong market. The rest of Asia is great. I mean, we think it's Taipei, Tokyo, all the other regions are actually doing pretty strong. So it's a collective region, but Hong Kong is definitely the driver. And we've seen it in the recent bookings, a little stabilization out there. So hopefully that continues into the fourth quarter.
Are you seeing hesitancy by CEOs or executives to fly into Hong Kong right now?
Again, Beijing and Shanghai, where is the predominant amount of travel, we're seeing a little softness, but not anything noticeable.
Overall, when you look at this economy right now, we have a lot of people who are doing this hand-wringing over whether or not we start to see things slow down heading into next year. Are you seeing any of that right now?
We talked about this constantly because everyone is always talking about it. I think the collective wisdom of my team, as we discussed this yesterday, was we've never seen a bigger gap between the headlines and our actual physical data that we have about our business. So no, we are not in agreement that we are in a slowdown of any sort. Our bookings into the fourth quarter are really, really strong. And again, we've been saying that over the course of the year, and we're confident in our business and our market and what we've done strategically to align ourselves for this. Now, having said that, of course, there's always softness around the corner. One of the things that we've learned as well is to be flexible, and we have a lot of contingency plans, what we can do with various things to make sure that, again, we make that EPS number that we set for 2020.
Oscar, Becky has a question for you.
Sure.
Becky?
Hi, Beck.
Hey, Oscar, good to see you. We had Ed Bastian on last week with his earnings, too, for Delta. And the point he made is that he is taking market share, he thinks, from United and some of the other carriers that do have the 737 MAX just because they've been able to add more flights. They've been paying their pilots overtime to try and get some of those up. He seems to think that those market gain shares will stick. What do you say to that?
Oh, well, it's a competitive business, and I think our competitors are allowed to say what they want. I say good luck to that, but I think we like to earn our customers by giving them great service, not just that because of something that happened to somebody else. So we're confident that our markets, that the places we fly and the way we make you feel when we fly will be a significant benefit, and so not completely worried about that.
Lee Cooperman's here, too.
I'd like to give Oscar a shout-out. I want you to know that I have 3 5% positions in the family office. You're one of the 3. You've done a great job for me, and I appreciate it. I want to let you know, but my wife and I flew back from Rome. Your Polaris project is fabulous, the best seat in business first that I've ever been in. Tomorrow morning, I will be flying to Florida in coach. My rule is under 3 hours, I go coach. Over 3 hours, I go business first. And I just want you to feel good about yourself because you're doing God's work, basically. I've taken a giving pledge with Mr. Buffett. I'm giving all my money back to charity, and the more money I can make, the more money I can give away, and that makes me feel very good. But thank you.
Well, Mr. Cooperman, your fiscal policy and philosophy is always something we've aligned with, and we've talked more than a few times about your views on our business, and I'm glad you're continuing to be a supporter and glad to enjoy your product, and thank you for your philanthropy as well.
Just keep beating and
Oscar,
raising.
one last question
beating
for
and
you.
raising. Beating and raising. That's the secret. And keep doing
That's
the capital
eight
management
quarters in a
you're doing.
row. We've done that, by the way.
By the way, these guys
Oscar,
have
one
brought
last
back, I think,
question.
35% of their company in the last 3 or 4 years. The stock is 50% higher than the average price they paid, and they have an authorization to buy back another 16% on the books. They've done a great job in capital management.
If Bernie Sanders has his way, they won't be able to buy back any more stock.
Well, I don't think Bernie Sanders has a chance of being the next president. Though I thought he looked pretty good last night. I congratulate him. I'm happy he's healthy. I'm happy he's back on the trail. But I would like to have him relax a little bit. I was told I was in a list of 10 people he wouldn't take money from. He doesn't have to worry. There's no chance I'd ever give him any money.
Hey, Phil.
Oscar, one last question for you. You guys talk about costs, and the expectation is that they're going to be rising in the fourth quarter. Are you worried that that trend line continues into next year?
Well, first and foremost, we always manage costs, and we have, I think, the best sort of performance over the last 3 years. 0.3 when we finished the year over 3 years of our costs, which is significant and leading. But as costs go up, the reason they're going up is because our profits are going up, right? We're investing in our customers, in our people, and that's creating that EPS line. So it's important to, again, focus on the bottom line and not just on. But of course, we'll always worry about cost, and we'll be guiding to more specific data on our call later this morning.
Oscar Munoz, CEO of United Airlines, the day after they post better than expected earnings for the third quarter and raise their full year guidance. Guys, back to you.
Phil, thank you. Oscar, thank you. Good to see both of you. By the way, Lee Cooperman is our guest host today. As you heard, he owns shares of United. Lee, you said it was one of 3 positions in your home office that has 5% of your portfolio. Mm-hmm. How long have you been an owner in United?
One of my heroes is Warren Buffett. Before Warren got involved,
That's
so we've
right.
more than doubled. We've more than doubled our money, but we're taxable. We try to go long term and minimize our tax
Did you buy
liability.
any of the other airlines as well, or just United?
Well, from the diversification standpoint, we're in United, but the group is going to move together. If United works, Delta's going to work, Southwest is going to work.
What are the other 2 positions that have 5% of your holdings?
Cigna and on a value proposition. I find it kind of interesting. Everybody's worried in the healthcare group about Elizabeth Warren. The stock market's at a high, and the healthcare stocks are in the cellar. It makes no sense.
Well, we saw that with UNH yesterday, better than expected results, and the stock was up pretty sharply.
Yeah, but basically, if Elizabeth Warren is president, the market's going to go down quite dramatically, in my opinion. So the idea that
And that Cigna's a hedge for you? I don't understand.
No. Look, I'm a value investor, and a value investor tries to get more for less. So I look at the S&P. The S&P is about 17 times earnings. It's growing 6%. It yields 1.9%. Debt to capital around 40%. Enterprise value to EBITDA about 12, 13 times. Book value, I think, is about 3.5 times book value. Okay, and I look at Cigna. Cigna's got $8 billion of free cash flow next year. They're buying back 3 or 4% of the company annually, selling them around 8 times earnings. In a decent business, and I don't think we're going to get free health care for Medicare for all. It's not going to happen. It's just too expensive.
What's the third position?
Third 5% position is Google.
Because?
Great company. I get away from this debate of growth versus value. Google's about 21 times earnings. It's got a fortress balance sheet. It's growing quite nicely. The biggest threat seems to be the government, which is going after the most successful technology companies to break them up. I don't get it. They've provided the great growth and employment for the economy. But I looked at Microsoft. When Microsoft was challenged by the Federal Trade Commission, Justice Department, stock went down 20%. And 9 years later, it compounded at 23% a year for the next 9 years. So I think Google is worth more broken up than not. I don't think it's get broken up, but it's just a good value situation.
Lee is our guest host for the rest of the program. We've got a lot more to come with him, more investing ideas, too. But right now, as we head to a break, don't forget to subscribe to our new podcast. You're going to hear interviews from our guests, special behind-the-scenes content. What? You're taping us during the commercial breaks?
Right.
I hope not. You'll also get the latest headlines. Everything you expect from Squawk Box. You can look for us on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Subscribe today. Stay tuned. You're watching Squawk Box on CNBC. We'll be right back with more Lee Cooperman.
Johnson & Johnson.
Parents, it's up the hall.
half price on all toys at Sainsbury's right now, so you can keep us occupied this half term and even stock up for Christmas. The Sainsbury's up to half price toy sale ends 22nd of October.
Subject to availability at selected Sainsbury's stores, excluding centrals and locals, not available online. Valid 16th to 22nd of October.
We could play epic music, or we could speak in an overdramatic tone, or even set off fireworks. But that's just not smarty. Instead, we let our offer do the talking. Right now, you can grab 25% off our unlimited data SIM. That's just $18.75 a month with no speed restrictions, no credit check, and no long contract to tie you in. Now that's smarty. Just search Smarty Mobile and switch today. It's easy. Offer available for a limited time only. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
You're 169 in the queue.
I proposed on the 169. She got for the next stop.
You're my 169th greatest lover.
The number 169 never screamed going places until now. Get the Toyota Aygo X-Play for only £169 deposit, then £169 a month with 0% APR representative. Just go. Aygo.
0% APR representative on new sales of Aygo X-Play over 48 months. £169 per month. Customer deposit of £169 when proposed and approved via Access Toyota by 31st of October 2019. £3,487 and 50p optional final payment. Subject to status to over 18s. Indemnities may be required. Conditions apply. Toyota Financial Services.
Carl's all-change casserole.
So, Chloe walks in from school, tears all over her face.
Daddy,
She says,
I don't want to eat animals anymore.
I blooming love my meat, but not as much as I love my little girl. That's why we've made some changes to our old favourite, sausage casserole. Now with meat-free Cumberlands, but still with my magic touch, a dollop of mango chutney. Just as tasty as it used to be.
Better, actually.
Make your own with the new Tesco Plant Chef range, Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco.
And to say happy birthday, we're giving you a pair of award-winning Silver Galaxy Buds.
But it's not my birthday till June.
No, but it's ours. 10 years ago, we launched our first Galaxy smartphone. And to celebrate, we're giving customers who purchase any Galaxy S10, Note 10 or A90 5G the chance to claim a pair of amazing wireless Galaxy Buds.
Wow, and I didn't get you anything.
Get the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphone now at your local O2 shop or o2.co.uk. Offer available on purchases made by the 23rd of October 2019 and claimed online within 30 days. T&C supply.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Take a look at futures right now ahead of the market open. We're close to an hour and a half before it opens, but right now Dow would open off about 13 points. NASDAQ down about 13 points as well. S&P 500 off about 2.5 points.
As you know, our guest host this morning is Lee Cooperman. He's the chairman and CEO of Omega Family Office. And Lee, we talked about a few specific stocks that you like, but what's your overall take on the market? We've got earnings coming in. We've got fears of a recession out there in some quarters. What do you think?
I don't see a recession, and I don't understand monetary policy. Basically, consumer confidence is high, retail sales are strong, employment is strong, consumer net worth is probably at a record or near a record level. Corporate profits are decent. I think so far the 80-odd companies that reported in the third quarter are exceeded by a couple percent expectations. Stock repurchase activity tells me businessmen are not pessimistic about the outlook. Rates are already very low. You know, the need to lower rates. So I would say that the stock market is okay. Not great, okay. I like my stocks better than I like the S&P. And my general theme for a couple of years has been that we're in an abnormal world. Okay, why are we in an abnormal world? I don't get it. $15 trillion of sovereign debt carrying negative interest rate. The idea that I lend money to Germany for 30 years and they give me back less than I lent them is crazy. The idea that I live in a home in Denmark and get a check every month because I have a negative rate on my home mortgage doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I spend my time trying to figure out what normal is. Rightly or wrongly, my definition of normal is the labor force in America grows at 0.5%. Productivity of the labor force grows 1.5%. That defines real growth in any economy, and that's 2%. And another 2% for inflation, that's 4% nominal. In a 4% nominal world, I think the Fed funds rate ought to be 3, not 2, heading to 1.5. And the 10-year government shouldn't be 170, 180, it ought to be 4, but it'll probably be 2 or 3 years to get there because of global interest rates. In that world, I say a 17 multiple on the market's reasonable. Now, the bulls tell me 17 is too low. The bears say 17 too high. I'm comfortable and I could justify. I'll explain why if you ask. 17 times. I'm using $175 in S&P earnings next year. 17 times 175, if my arithmetic is right, is $29.75. The S&P $29.50. It's fairly valued. It's not overvalued, not undervalued. Okay, and I keep coming back to a great observation by John Templeton. I only wish I was smart enough and articulate enough to generate it myself. He said, bull markets are born in pessimism, they grow in skepticism, they mature in optimism, they die in euphoria. I don't see euphoria other than the IPO market, and that's already been corrected.
So where are we then in your?
I think there's one more leg left in the market,
and we haven't hit euphoria. But that could be a big spike then.
No, it could be 10%. You know, but
10% up still.
Yeah, it could be 10% up over the next 6 months. Don't forget the market has a capital market line, so on average it rise 5-6% a year. So if we
but to the extent that everyone's talking about a recession, if you go up 10%, are we talking about a recession coming down 10%? Or are you talking about a great?
No. Recessions generally look. Every economic expansion creates the seeds for the next recession. Every recession sows the seeds for the next economic recovery. If you're a student of economic and market history, recessions last about a year and the market goes down 25%.
Economic expansions usually cause an overheating, which causes rates to go up, which causes a recession. And, those are garden variety. This is totally different. Rates
it'll ultimately happen, but it's not happening now, which is a good thing.
It's a totally different way, though. And I don't know whether that makes it deeper or
you're seeing the General Motors strike. You haven't seen that labor strike in quite some time. I think there are two things to watch carefully. Okay, one is Iran. A war with Iran would spike the price of oil, which would be very negative.
We already talked about that.
Okay, the second thing to watch is China. If the president resorts to putting on another round of tariffs, that probably increase the probability of recession. And if we have a recession, the market drops at least 25%. If Elizabeth Warren is elected president, in my opinion, the market drops 25%. Bernie Sanders, same thing. You know, in my view. Because as I listened to the debate last night, I kept on thinking of a great statesman by the name of Winston Churchill, who said, you don't make poor people rich by making rich people poor. He said the main vice of capitalism is the uneven distribution of prosperity. The main vice of socialism is the equal distribution of misery. What is their problem with billionaires? All the billionaires that I know are self-made and give back more to the system than they give on themselves. Okay? Bernie Marcus was a depressed dude when he got fired Christmas week.
A different Bernie.
Yep.
Bernie Marcus Home Depot.
Yeah, Bernie Marcus of Home Depot.
Right.
Okay, he got fired right in Christmas week. He was very depressed. He called up Ken Langone to express his depression. Ken, who's one of the great people in the country, in my opinion, okay, says, what the hell are you depressed about? I'll go out and raise you some money and you'll pursue your dream. Okay? And his dream was superstores in the hardware. He says, I run a hardware store. Right. Okay? Today, Home Depot's got a $258 billion market cap. They employ 400,000 people. Right. They have thousands of associates that are millionaires. Okay? And Bernie has given back a fortune to the economy, starting with the Atlantic Aquarium, $250 million.
Right.
Ken Langone is a legendary philanthropist.
We did the show from there. It was amazing.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Ken Langone, I think I can't count his money, giving maybe $350 million to NYU. Most recently, he led the initiative to provide free medical tuition for the lucky students that get into NYU. Then you look at Bill Gates, what he's done. Look at Mike Bloomberg, what he's done. I recently interviewed David Rubenstein. I turned the table on him at New Jersey Performing Arts Center, where I do a distinguished speaker series. You know, Rubenstein's the old man was a post office worker, started with nothing, and his patriotic philanthropy is legendary. Okay, so this idea of attacking billionaires is bull. Totally bull. What they should do, what we have to do as a nation is coalesce around the question, what should the maximum tax rate be on wealthy people? Okay?
You can get your message out more if you finish the term bull. Because the more people will pick it up, and then, but they'll get you. No, we won't. Not on cable.
We're on cable.
No, not on cable. You can say it. You want me to say it? Bullshit too.
Okay. That's up to you.
No, I said the dog. I'm
a guest here.
I know how to do it.
I'm a guest in your home. I conduct myself. But basically,
we
have to agree upon what the maximum tax rate should be on wealthy people. I believe in the progressive income tax structure. I believe rich people should pay more. Okay, I have no problem with that. This wealth tax is baloney.
Bullshit too.
So here's the question that I'd ask to you, which is, you look at the inequality numbers in this country, and frankly in the world, over the last, let's say, 30 years, right? Relative to the world 50 years ago. You look at the ability of somebody in the bottom quartile to get to the top quartile.
I mean, everybody's better off than 50 years ago.
Just straight economic mobility, they're not, Joe.
I'm not talking about economic. I'm talking about in general. Okay, all right. In general, everybody's better off.
You're not going to make poor people rich by making rich people poor.
I understand that. So my question to you, though, is what would you do? And
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I pay college tuition for 500 kids in Newark, New Jersey.
And God bless you for that. What I'm asking you is, what do you...
Education and faster economic growth is the answer. Okay?
And you don't...
And I believe we should have a tax code that's fair. Rich people should pay more in taxes, but you don't do it through a wealth tax. Just get rid of the loopholes. 7 years ago, 7 years ago on this show, I said if we're serious about dealing with taxes, get rid of the carried interest.
Yes.
7 years, we had Democrats controlled Congress and the government, the Republicans, we still have carried interest. Section 1031 of the IRS code allows these real estate guys to swap.
You're ready
Get
to
rid of it.
Okay.
Okay, let's decide what the maximum tax rate should be. I'm willing to work 6 months for myself and 6 months for the government. I will be happy to give 6 months of my income to the government.
And Lee, I will say, this is something you've been saying for years.
Yeah,
this is not new for you in terms of...
There's nothing. My view of the market's not new. Last same.
No, but I just want to say that this is not a response to what we've seen from the Democrats proposing some of these wealth taxes.
7 years
you have
ago,
said this for a long time.
7 years ago, I had a wonderful dinner with Warren Buffett, Bill and Melinda Gates, Mike Bloomberg on the Giving Pledge. And what I told Warren Buffett was that it's a very noble idea. Asking for half isn't asking for enough, so you should ask for more. I told him I plan to give away all my money, okay? And I said it's not an original concept. In 1900, Andrew Carnegie said, he who dies rich dies disgraced. In 1931, Sir Winston Churchill said, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. When President Kennedy was inaugurated president, he said, ask not what your country could do, ask what you could do for your country. Okay? And the difference between Warren and I is I'm giving all my money back to those organizations that made a difference to me and my family in my lifetime.
We're going to continue.
Melinda Gates, the custodian.
We're going to continue this, but you're lucky you live in Florida because it's only 6 months that you work for the government. If you work back here, it'd be 8 months.
Well, as we get to that, if we...
All right, well, we'll get to that coming up. We'll have more time. Coming up, breaking economic news straight ahead.
When we chose independence...
Why is Lizzie going rental for Fizzy Haze? Is it because her flat is so beautiful and spacious? Snazzy! Or has roof terrace, garden and party room? Surprising! Or because it's 18 minutes to Paddington? Easy! With friendly staff on hand to take any deliveries? Amazing! Or just because her fuzzy friend can live there too? Find your new home at fizzyhaze.com. Fizzy Living. Reinventing renting.
We could play epic music, or we could speak in an overdramatic tone, or even set off fireworks. But that's just not smarty. Instead, we let our offer do the talking. Right now, you can grab 25% off our unlimited data SIM. That's just $18.75 a month with no speed restrictions, no credit check, and no long contract to tie you in. Now that's smarty. Just search Smarty Mobile and switch today. It's easy. Offer available for a limited time only. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
You're 169 in the queue.
I proposed on the 169. She got for the next stop.
You're my 169th greatest lover.
The number 169 never screamed going places until now. Get the Toyota Aygo X-Play for only £169 deposit, then £169 a month with 0% APR representative. Just go. Aygo.
0% APR representative on new sales of Aygo X-Play over 48 months. £169 per month. Customer deposit of £169 when proposed and approved via Access Toyota by 31st of October 2019. £3,487 and 50p optional final payment. Subject to status to over 18s. Indemnities may be required. Conditions apply. Toyota Financial Services.
The B&Q 3 for 2 offer is now on, including an unmissable 3 for 2 on all paint, such as Dulux, Valspar and Farrow & Ball. For this show-stopping deal, hurry to B&Q. You can do it when you're 3 for 2 it. Every third item, a single transaction in descending price order free. Offer ends November 3rd, see DIY.com.
And to say happy birthday, we're giving you a pair of award-winning Silver Galaxy buds.
But it's not my birthday till June.
No, but it's ours. 10 years ago, we launched our first Galaxy smartphone. And to celebrate, we're giving customers who purchase any Galaxy S10, Note 10 or A95G the chance to claim a pair of amazing wireless Galaxy buds.
Wow, and I didn't get you anything.
Get the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphone now at your local O2 shop or o2.co.uk. Offer available on purchases made by the 23rd of October 2019 and claimed online within 30 days. T&Cs apply.
Welcome back to Squawk Jukebox, everybody. We're on CNBC, and we are live from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Here's some of the stories investors are going to be talking about today. The Federal Reserve releases its latest beige book a little later today. That's the region-by-region assessment of the U.S. economy. It's out at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And as usual, Fed watchers are going to be looking for any clues about the economic outlook and possible monetary policy implications. Mortgage applications edged higher by 0.5% last week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. An increase in refinancing activity was largely offset by decline in new purchase applications. The average 30-year mortgage rate edged slightly higher to 3.92%. And two high-profile earnings reports are out this afternoon. We've got IBM and Netflix both releasing their quarterly numbers after today's closing bell. IBM's revenue is expected to drop for a fifth consecutive quarter, and Netflix subscribers numbers will be getting some close attention amid an onslaught of new competition.
Okay, MGM Resorts is selling Las Vegas resorts Bellagio and Circus in separate deals for about $5 billion in total. Here's MGM CEO Jim Moran talking to CNBC's Contessa Brewer last night all about it.
We created a joint venture with Blackstone, and we're going to retain a 5% minority interest. And what that does is allow us to reduce the tax friction on the transaction. And so that the multiple that we're getting for the real estate, 17.3 times, is of course historic. It's the highest multiple ever achieved for real estate here in Las Vegas.
Take a look at shares of MGM. They're up this morning, $28.30.
All right, we are about a half a minute away from retail sales. The futures have turned positive on the Dow. That's the Cooper. Nope, now they're negative. Oh, that's interesting. They were for a second, weren't they? They were up about 9. So I don't know what the Dow component's moving around. Obviously, probably one of the higher priced ones. But that is basic.
Back to positive.
Back to positive.
And up.
And up. Rick Santelli is at the CME, Chicago. Rick, the numbers.
Yes, September read, retail sales down 0.3%. That's exactly backwards. We were expecting up 0.3%. Now, we did gain 0.2 in a revision. Originally released at 0.4, headline last month now stands at up 0.6. If you strip out autos, the number rises to only minus 0.1. We're also expecting up 0.2 there. And if you strip out autos and gas, you reach unchanged. Now, all of these had positive revisions. I told you 0.2 on headline. We also gained 0.2 ex auto, which now stands up 0.2 last month. And we gained 0.3 ex autos and gas, now at up 0.4 for last month. But as I said, neutral read. Now, if you look at the control group, which kind of is the number we make and then insert into other numbers higher up the number chain, that number is 0. The control number is 0. Our last look, it was 0.3 unrevised. Now, that isn't terrific news, obviously, and we do see a slight deterioration in the futures markets. Joe was just discussing on equities. We're hovering just below 1 3/4 on 10-year note yields. And, of course, we continue to monitor how global interest rates certainly have firmed up over the last several weeks. Andrew, back to you.
Okay, thank you for that, Rick. Appreciate it very much. I want to get over to Steve Leisman, who's in Washington this morning, for his take on what's happening here.
Good morning, Andrew. There were concerns about a weaker number, and I'm going to explain why. I'm not sure I believe all of this explanation here, but I'm going to throw it out there, which is that you saw the upward revision in August, up 0.6%. There was some thinking out there, and Ian Shepardson from Pantheon is among those who really championed this idea, that the August retail number was boosted by the tariffs. I have a hard time believing this because I'm not really sure how aware consumers are or were back then of the tariffs. But his argument was that people came in and bought stuff in August in part because of the tariffs, and that he expected a pretty sharp fall off in September. So kudos for him. Whether he got there for the right reason or not, it's worth pointing out. It's also worth discussing the issue of it has been the consumer that has been the high point or the highlight of this economy. If this were to continue, it would cause reasons for worry. As I look down the list here, everything is negative. Some of it looks like a snapback from the last quarter strength, which that would be okay if that's all it was just September giving up gains in August. If it continues, I think there'll be more concern. What might happen now, and we'll have to monitor this as the day goes by, is that this 1.7, 1.8% GDP average for the rapid update may come down even more. I don't know how much, maybe as much as 0.2. We'll have to watch it depending upon what the economist dialed in. So this would be concern about weakening of the economy in the just completed third quarter. And it may be that you get more depending upon what happens with tariffs and people's attitudes and knowledge of tariffs. And this would be the first time that we've actually seen definitive effects of tariffs from the consumer side, Andrew.
Hey, Leisman.
Yeah.
New York Fed, repo, fully subscribed, 75 billion injected. It was like 208 or something. So we're talking about it again. Everything okay? Yesterday I saw it.
As far as I know, I didn't see what happened yesterday because I was at the IMF World Bank meeting.
It was over 2 again, but there were some operations again. I mean, I'm seeing, I see it on these different websites that are, they're trying to make something of it. I'm just wondering whether we still just, you know what I mean? You know the ones I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, Joe. As far as I can tell, and I'll have to take a look at this, is they have been injecting enough liquidity into the markets. And, they made that big change, Joe, which we talked about, which was that they decided to take the temporary operations and make them permanent and then come back and buy a whole bunch of short-term bills.
By the way, Mohammed agrees with me. It is QE.
Okay.
It's a skinny QE.
If you guys need to call it QE, then you should do so.
Skinny QE?
It's liquidity. At the very least, it's
I'm
liquidity.
just saying in terms of the Q, which is the quantity, it's much less than other QE operations, leading to less E, which is the easing. I think there is some
liquidity.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you, Becky. That's what
I was going for.
I think that when the Fed wants you to believe they're doing QE, they have every interest in wanting you to believe that. This is on the short end, not on the long end. I'm happy to debate Mohammed on this. Look, I'm partially caught between, I don't want to be the guy saying, well, this is what the Fed wants you to believe. I actually think they're pretty much right on this. They were feeling around in the dark for the right level of reserve.